Everybody, welcome to our latest episode of the Slants and Arrows podcast. Again, I'm your host, John Kerr, publisher of the Scouts Football newsletter. Again, go to goscoutsfootball.com and you can subscribe for free. Really excited to have on the show today the head football coach at Denison University in Ohio. His name is Jack Hatem. Thanks for coming on the show today, Jack.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Jack, we wanted to have you on. You and I were talking a little bit off camera before we started the show. There's some history with Denison, with Lake Forest High School, but recent history. You have a commitment from one of the athletes in the senior class, but there was also some juniors that were down there, I think, for an event that you had. I know you can't necessarily talk about specific recruits, but just want to ask your thoughts on kind of recruiting in this area. And obviously, Coach Bagnoli, who's a longtime coach here at the high school, and your thoughts on what it is about maybe athletes from Lake Forest or even the Chicagoland area. I know you have some New Trier guys on there too, Loyola Academy, but specifically Lake Forest that you think are fit for Denison.
Yeah, I mean we've had some great student athletes from Lake Forest and the North Shore, and we've been very successful recruiting there. In fact, Patrick Hennigan from New Trier just left my office before we got on here. So I think it's just a great fit. I think, it's the right kind of families, the right kind of schools, the right kind of programs that appreciate Denison. They're looking for a great education. They're looking for a competitive athletic experience. And, we've seemed to be a really great fit. And we've just had some tremendous athletes, not just in football, in all of our programs from Lake Forest in particular, throughout my time here.
Yeah, specifically Lake Forest, is there and I know the guys who come out of here, there might be occasionally might get a Riley Mills guy that's like a once in a generation who, just played for the Seahawks. But typically these are high academic young men, ones who, if they come out of Coach Bagnoli's program, they're going to be guys who, are going to fit into a good culture, right? And they're also ones you probably don't have to worry about off the field, right? So I would think they kind of check all those boxes for you.
They really do. They come in, they're smart. They have their priorities straight. They're gritty and hard workers, and great athletes, so coming out of Coach's program, they're a perfect fit for us. And, we're always really excited to have Lake Forest guys, in our recruiting process.
Where are things now in the recruiting cycle for a program like Denison? We're recording this on, March the 5th. I noticed on your Twitter feed you were marketing some camp days. I know that's kind of coming up. But talk about that. I want to ask you a little bit later about the state of college athletics. Sure. But talking about kind of right now in early March, kind of where things are for you and your staff from a recruiting perspective.
Yeah, the process for us is we're pretty close to finished with this class, for the fall of 2026. We get most of our athletes at a school like Denison in the early decision process. We still have a few left, that hadn't made a decision yet that will be a regular decision. So this class is pretty close to finished. And like you mentioned, we've already started on the next class. We had a junior day a few Saturdays ago. We had 5 Lake Forest guys at the junior day. They were all sitting right in front, and I had seen some of them. I came to a summer workout last year at Lake Forest and hung out, talked to Coach, and met a few of them. So it was awesome to have them there. So we're already on and moving forward, preparing for our summer camps that we're going to, preparing for our own summer camps, and pursuing that class. We're just really close to finished with this one.
Yeah. I would think that because we're spring football, right? But you guys have spring ball, so that probably starts fairly soon here, right? Yeah. I would think it seems like the college season just ended. Now you're talking about spring ball here. So for you, there's no. I know there's. Again, I want to ask you about the portal as well. But for you said that kind of 27 class. So you're making your evaluations, meeting kids on campus. How important is that? You mentioned just a couple of weeks ago having some Lake Forest guys there. You'd already done some evaluation before of them, right? So you extended invitations. Is that based on huddle film watching, references, talking to coach? Like, how do you go about even evaluating kids in that 27 class?
All of the above, where there's a lot of film involved in my sport. We We don't have the out of season AAU or the summer travel team tournaments to go watch. So there's a lot of watching film. We do ask for recommendations, maybe from anybody we can connect to, usually the coach or the guidance counselor or both. A school like Lake Forest is great for us because there's a connect there, so we can get a real great, a great evaluation from coach and get a feel for if he thinks the kid's a great fit for us or not. Yeah, so all of the above, in that evaluation process.
Yeah, what are you? Because I know for instance, Aiden Cassidy, who's going to be graduating here from the high school in just a couple of months, and has said he will be attending Denison and playing football for you in the fall. Specifically, someone like Aiden, is it okay to talk about him a little bit, or is it still?
Yeah.
Yeah, just I want to get an idea of kind of what the prototype is. So when you're evaluating someone like him, Aiden, who was primarily played safety for the high school, he was also a wide receiver when he first entered the high school, but primarily became a safety. What are you looking for? What is it about someone like him that's a good fit for Denison and your particular scheme and system?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really great player. I mean, he's going to come in for us as a safety, like you said. And, he's a great student. He's a great athlete. He's, we're just really excited. He played in a great program. So he's played against great competition, so that's a big deal, so because it's still college football. We play against some great players, and, goodness, some guys that are 22, 23, 24 years old, so a guy that's played against really good competition and a good program, had great coaching in the door. And then, you feel like from a school like Lake Forest and with his background, he's going to come in and be able to handle the rigor, academically, which is a big deal. It's hard. It's a hard school, and being a college athlete's tough. There's a lot of demands, so somebody that can really handle the academic rigor and, the expectations is a big deal. And then, like I said, he's a great athlete and a great player who's played against great competition. So we're super excited about him.
Yeah, and somebody who I know is, loves the sport and loves the sort of grind of the sport, right? I mean, that's something that I think is, you mentioned a program, and the ones you also mentioned from the Chicago area, the Loyolas, the New Triers, even some Glenbrook South. I think I saw one on there, even Lyons Township, which is an excellent program here in the southwest suburbs. Those are kids, that he said, you can't get to the level that they're at without treating football as almost like a second job, right? So they're going to come in with a work ethic, right, Coach? I think that would be.
It's a big deal. The work ethic's a big deal. And like you mentioned, we've had great success in that area. I don't know if I've had a year without, Lake Forest, New Trier, Evanston Township, Loyola, like all the above mentioned, on our roster. So we've done very well. And like I said earlier, I think we're just a great fit, for the families in that area. And it's great for us because really competitive programs playing against, grow up playing against just great athletes. It's fun. Some of them come here and it's like, yeah, my friend from my class plays at Notre Dame. My other friend from my class plays at Iowa. It's like they've played with and against like top athletes. So, they come in, and they're ready to go for us.
Yeah, our guest is Jack Hatem. He's the head football coach at Denison University. Denison plays in a real good conference, the North Coast Athletic Conference. You see John Carroll on there. You see DePaul, which is a program which has also sent there's actually one athlete from Lake Forest High who's going to be going there next year, and certainly Wabash and Wittenberg. So there's some at least brand name Division III programs when you think of schools that are football, Midwestern type programs. Talk about that a little bit, Coach, about the history of the conference. You're somebody who's been the head coach since 2010. I know you were assistant coach for a number of years before that, so you've lived in that part of Ohio. Just give us an idea of the football in that area and the history of the conference and the rivalries between the schools I just mentioned.
Yeah, football is really important, in this conference, and it's just become better and better and better. The Wabash, DePaul, Wittenberg, have always been just top tier teams in Division III. Now, like you mentioned, we've added John Carroll, who had a great team last year, made it to the national semifinals. Next year, we add Wash U from St. Louis, who's a really good football program. So it's just like, it's a brutal schedule. We're going to be playing, gosh, I would guess 5 teams that have every reason to believe they're going to be top 20 in the country teams next year in our conference. So yeah, but it's fun. It's awesome. People ask sometimes about the rivalries. Gosh, I couldn't even tell you. It's like every Saturday seems like a rivalry game,
Right.
So it's been a lot of fun, and next year I feel like we have a really nice team coming back. We're playing great teams, so it should be a fun season for us.
Yeah, I think anyone watching or listening to this podcast will know that the rivalry is a little bit more difficult to define. I think now in this generation, at least with younger people, right? In
Yeah.
terms of because nowadays they all play travel sports and they play with these kids, and so the rivalries are a little bit. I think it's one of the things, the unique aspects of high school sports, even Division III, and even college sports. Is still the regional rivalries still matter. So I would
Yeah.
think to your fan base, right, or to your students, right? Like who would you say? Like if I asked one of your players right now, who do you want to beat the most? Who are you getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning for workouts thinking about? Who would that be?
Yeah, I think you'd get an array for my team. I think it would probably be mostly DePaul, probably Wittenberg. Those are the two. Now, but like you said, over historically, I think if you would have asked the Denison alumni, from the 1960s, they would have named, Ohio Wesleyan because they're so close, and that was the school's big rival forever and ever and ever. But like you said, with this generation, it's like, man, they want to play the guys here. They want to play good teams, and they want to. So they always see the top competitors as the rival. That's who they wake up. That's who they want to beat. So yeah, fun. But
Yeah, yeah. If you're an edge rusher or a linebacker, you want to go after that quarterback who's on X or Instagram, whatever it is
yeah,
getting maybe recruited in the portal by a
yeah,
D1 school. You know, who he plays for doesn't matter. I just want to go after that guy, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, again, our guest is Jack Hatem, the head football coach at Denison, the Big Red, who have recruited a bunch of Lake Forest players over the years. I know there's some interest from some guys, and George Holland, Emmett Heaton, a few guys in the junior class that our fan base would know about who are considering Denison, right now. I want to ask you about the state of college athletics, Jack. A lot of conversation around what's happening with, certainly the elite colleges, Division I, P4, whatever you want to call it now. I saw a statistic that the transfer portal, which just I think there's a 2-week window now for the portal. From January 2nd till January 16th this year, there were over like 10,000 guys that were in
Yeah.
the portal.
Yes.
I don't, and I just probably it's just a fraction of those that actually end up landing somewhere at a certain college. You don't hear about the guys that go to the portal and either go back to their school or just stop playing college football, whatever it is. For someone from your perspective at the Division III level, how does this impact you guys in terms of what's
I mean, not at the same level of P4 schools, like you said, and maybe not as much in football as it does some other sports. It's a little bit harder transition, because maybe of size and speed. Like we don't have too many we have some really good defensive linemen, probably not the size, of a Big Ten, you know, defensive linemen. So we don't have a whole lot there. But there is some, there are some. Like we open with Hope at home next year has been a great football team the last 2 years, and their defensive end just went in the portal and found it home with Wisconsin. So I guess we're not going to have to block him, at least. That's good. But there's still the movement, and there's still that thought. If I come in and I perform at a high enough level, is there an opportunity? For me to go in the portal and find a home, maybe even if it's an FCS, where at that level. Now, some of our other teams, maybe feel it a little bit more severely. If you come in, and a great example, if you're a Division III baseball player and you find yourself, in the low to mid 90s, all of a sudden you could go in the portal and you might legitimately get picked up. So I think it's more likely for our baseball team to maybe lose a kid to the portal than it is us, but it's still out there. And some of the other schools in our conference are winning a little bit in the portal,
Okay.
so we've continued to be a pretty traditional roster age-wise. Normally the Denison student academics are really, really important. They come here, they play their 4 years successfully, and then they're looking for that first job opportunity in the business world or law school or med school. So our roster has continued to be pretty traditional age-wise, but we do experience a little bit.
Yeah, that was one question I wanted to ask you. There's always this idea that the guys transfer up. You mentioned the Hope
Right.
College player, and I know there are
Yeah.
probably a few others, right,
Yeah.
that are maybe at Division One, rosters right now. But also this idea of transferring down. You would think that there are guys that maybe just simply are not playing
Yeah.
because they're being aged out. Like if you're a coach,
Right.
I'd rather get a 22-year-old who's a ready-made guy who can perform as opposed to developing an 18, 19-year-old. Are you seeing some guys, transfer down?
Yeah, we have. And for us, mostly it's somebody we recruited. They took an opportunity at a little bit higher level. Maybe the school wasn't quite what Denison is academically. They get a couple years into it. They're talking to their family and like, okay, listen, you know, let's reconsider this, you know, let's reconsider this. And then we may have an opportunity at that young man who's like, okay, we're going to revisit this. We're going to play our last 2 years at a really high academic school like Denison and maybe have a chance to get on the field and really play. So
Yeah.
we do see a little bit.
So those relationships are you maintain those, right?
Yeah, they're really important. One of the things I think, I make my staff very aware of is, at the beginning of this whole process for us, we're recruiting kids. Man, this kid's a great player on film, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, we're in the process, but so is Yale, Harvard, Wofford. There's other schools that are a little bit bigger than us in the process. And if that happens for them, the decision at the end, we're going to be very supportive of that. We're going to be very supportive of, hey, that sounds like a great situation. I'll be honest, we just lost a really high level running back recruit to Yale. Right. There was like 3 kids left on their board. They ended up taking him. He's going to go to Yale. Well, I'm excited for him. Of course I would have loved to have had him, but I'm excited for him. He's got a great opportunity. I mean, he's going to play running back at Yale, good, so that's great. But we do maintain those relationships. And then if it doesn't work out, sometimes we do get that call. Like, hey, coach, I'm still number 3 on the roster. If I go and, will you talk to me? So we do try to maintain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point about maintaining the relationships, coach, and also this idea of like being just letting it go, right? I mean, that's as because you said that may come back to you,
yeah,
within 1 or 2. And is that so? Certainly, you lost a running back to Yale.
Yeah.
What is your competition? In terms of schools that you see as okay, everything's equal, academics. Maybe our coaching staff's a little bit better, maybe a little bit, or just our culture, right? Every coach is going to say we like our culture. So, what is then that as they call in marketing your USP, your unique selling proposition? I mean, what is your elevator pitch? Say this is why Denison's a better fit than maybe a Wittenberg or a John Carroll or a DePaul.
I think at the outset of that, the academics are a big piece. Right. It's like this is a top tier academic institution. That's a big deal. And especially if we fit your interest, right? Like, hey, I'm a law school kid or I'm a med school kid. We just have a ton of med school kids on our roster, So I think at the beginning it's that. The thing that's really crazy, if you're going to be a small school, high academic person, boy, this is a good athletic school. Like our basketball teams are good, our lacrosse team's good, our baseball team was in the World Series last year. It's like all of a sudden it's a fun place to be. Like our women's team will host an NCAA game Friday night, and my team is so excited about being at that game. It will be a fun gym to be in Friday evening to watch that game. So that's big. I think kids that love sports love it here. Yeah. And then like you said, are you a good fit with the coaching staff? Does this coaching staff really want me? Do I really fit with the D coordinator, the O coordinator, the head coach? Like, is it a good fit for me? Do I feel like I'd be a good fit at this place? You know?
Yeah, no, well said. And just a couple more minutes here with you, Coach. I'm sure you got to run here, but I really appreciate your time here this morning. I want to ask you about that, about retention of coaches, right, and the importance of that at your level. I just like players, you're probably, hey, if you're going to go become the offensive coordinator at Yale or Harvard, and you're a positional coach, hey, thanks for your service here. We'll let you go. How much of a challenge is that for you year to year?
It's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge. We've been successful enough that we've had young coaches here, and we're a part of their journey. But then they get opportunities. And sometimes we're able to retain them a little bit longer. Due to the wife's job or the family or whatever. But a lot of times we do have guys that are here and they move on. And that's okay. Because of that, I've really been able to attract, some really, really high level coaches. My current O coordinator was a two-time Division III All-American. My defense coordinator was two-time captain at Ohio University. The linebacker coach started at Mike linebacker at Pitt. Like right now, I've been able to attract some really high level guys, but I also have to be aware of the fact these are really, really talented young coaches. And I just asked them, like, please just be upfront with me. It's like, when you get that call, let me be part of the answer. I'm going to root for you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to hate to lose you, but that is part of my life. And it is really challenging, and I just have to be confident that at a school like Denison, in our program, I can go recruit the next really, really talented young coach and bring them in, get them acclimated to Denison and us to really just roll forward.
Why have you stayed, Coach? I mean, this is going to be 2016, but I think your 17th season, right, as the head coach at Denison, and you were an assistant coach for a number of years before then. I'm sure you've had some opportunities, right, to leave at some point in your career, like any good coach. Why have you stayed?
I think I got goosebumps with the question. I love it here. I've loved the students here and our student athletes here. It's been a perfect fit for me. I love what we were talking about before. I love that this is a place where you can come and, you're gonna be able to get a world-class education. You're gonna be able to be, walk out of here a really high character adult, ready to step into the world. And we think we're gonna win every Saturday, and that's part of it too, and that whole combination for me has just been fantastic. My family jokes that every single team I coach, I'm always like, man, this is a great group of guys. This is a great group of dudes. I love these guys, but I really have. And I really feel very, very, very fortunate to get to be around the caliber of young person I'm around every day. And that's what's kept me.
Yeah, I think there's an appeal to sort of, what's the old expression coaches like to use? I mean, be where the grass is, the grass underneath your feet, those types of things. I think there's something, and that comes across, I think, in just this, 20, 30-minute conversation with you. Lastly, before I let you go, I want to ask you about one player who is now on the baseball team because he's one of the last of the 2-3 sport guys. Played 3 sports here at Lake Forest High School. People remember Cade Noack, starting guard, starting wide receiver, baseball player. Just your thoughts on Cade as he finishes up, I think, his final sporting season at Denison.
Cade is the man. He's fantastic. He's such a fantastic. He's a great athlete. First of all, he is a fantastic. He might be the most skilled athlete at our university right now. He can do a lot of stuff. He's a really, really skilled. But the thing, I think, if you're not, if you can let slip by because he's a wide receiver or whatever, but boy, is he tough. He's just a great, great competitor. He's a great competitor for us. We played him at quarterback for a game. Like he's a great competitor, and he's the heart and soul of our baseball team right now. Like I know Coach Deegan wouldn't mind me saying, like, he's the man, like he's the go-to. And Denison baseball and football, and me personally, we're really going to miss him. He's a good one. Really enjoyed having him for sure.
Yeah, and somebody who I think if you're interested in going to Denison, I'd look Kate up. I'm sure he
Yeah.
provides a pretty good testimonial for you guys, and somebody here as well. And I'll make sure I make sure I don't forget Jack Berger, who's also a junior here at the high school,
Yeah.
who tweeted out a commitment or at least offer from you guys
Yeah. I just talked to him the other night.
about Jack. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So is it real cool? Can you? I know. Sometimes I don't want to. Can you talk about Jack for a second, or just
Yeah, just really excited to offer him, and he's still early in the process, but just things started rolling with him, and there's some interest there on his part for sure. We really liked everything we saw. So yeah, we went through our Division III process for me to be able to offer him what I did, and then got to talk to him on the phone just the other night. So yeah, really excited about it.
Yeah, I think Jack will have some other opportunities as he gets through the process, but he is without a doubt, as someone who coached in middle school, known him for a long time, terrific athlete, terrific character guy, and somebody who just loves football and will be a steward of your program when he's there.
Yeah.
Wherever Jack is, like he that's where he is. He is locked in. He's doing track right now. He will be for 2 months. He's locked in on track and his teammates and his coaches. And so he'll be a great fit for the Big Red. So before I let you go, Jack, just where can people find you? So anybody, parents watching this, say, hey, I'm interested in Denison now. Is there somewhere they can find, fill out a questionnaire, interested in going?
Yeah. If you're a student athlete, go on our website, fill out our recruiting questionnaire. All of our contact info is on there. Jovan Johnson is our defense coordinator and recruiting coordinator, and he's fantastic. But you reach out to any of our coaches based on position, or reach out to me myself. Cell phone's on there, emails on there. And like you said, fill out the recruiting questionnaire. My coaches will get to that immediately.
Yeah, and the website, there's the Twitter feed is, I'm just kind of rolling up while we're talking to you here. You can go to DU Football on Twitter.
Yep. Yeah.
Just go to @DU Football, right, Coach?
Yeah.
With that. And then just Denison.edu is there a website people can go to online?
Yeah, it's Denison Big Red. Okay. It's DenisonBigRed.com is the athletic website, or you can find that on the school's main website, Denison.edu.
There you have it. Okay, Jack Hatem, head football coach at Denison. Appreciate taking the time today to chat with us about your program, and look forward to staying in touch with you down the road.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciated the conversation today.
Thanks, Jack. Take care.
Thank you.